just find something in the net, and that's I'm fine with that. So sorry.
Okay. Julian gave us the signal that we are on.
Okay.
So we can start. So first of all, we are very happy, and I am very happy to that you accepted my invitation to present you to the Romanian people. You had a great career like basketball player and a great career after the basketball player like. And thank you again that you are here with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so you have a lot of sides. Of course, the most prominent is like the player side, but also you had different paths in your career, like club president, scouter. You own a basketball academy. You are father of 3 kids, so you have a lot of directions in your life in which you did good, and I congratulate you for that.
Thanks. It's like everything is connecting somehow with the basketball, obviously, because I think you too, because you've been in basketball long enough to know that is so difficult to separate yourself. When you start playing basketball, you fall in love with the game, and after it's hard to just release and hard to just let it go. So everything is connecting somehow.
This virus is worse than Corona.
Everything is connecting
you cannot
somehow with basketball.
Cure this virus, basketball virus.
I think you too, because you've been in basketball long enough. When you're contagious, it's so difficult to separate yourself. Try to find when you start playing basketball, sometimes just get away, but you cannot get away. After it's hard to just go back to it. Release. Okay, when you fed up something, everything is that way. When you, for example, the results or bad game or bad results, or your team is not responding well, or you're not finding the right pass, and you say, okay, that's enough. You try to separate yourself. But after a little while, it's not long ago, you just, no, it's something missing, so you have to go back. And this is a circle of life, and just circling around and getting back and find new challenges, and then just, keep connecting. And you cannot be without basketball, basically.
It's, every time when you're sad or you say, hey, I'm tired because I lost this game, I didn't play well, how you said, it's enough to touch the basketball. It's enough. And then something happens in your head, I need to go to the gym.
Absolutely. This is always during my career, and especially in the early, but later on too. It's like, when you plan something, it's most of the time it's not going that way. That's why it's beauty of the basketball. You think something, okay, it's gonna work, and some circumstances make it some different direction, or something is happening and you cannot, what's gonna happen. Only thing you can do, preparing. That's the most important thing for my whole career, and obviously your life. You try to prepare, try to do as much as you can to prepare, and hope is some luck is coming on your way, because you cannot win without luck. You cannot win. You have to do everything in your own power, but need a little luck to make it happen.
For sure. You need that green light from God that you can do that, boy. You have a free pass to go.
Right. Absolutely.
How is feeling in Budapest? I don't know. You live in Budapest?
Yes, I am. Yes, we are actually with my family. Yes, exactly. Well,
what is like the feeling in Budapest with this pandemic?
We don't know, because we cannot go outside. so the feeling is like well, the weather is now a little better, warmer, but we live in a suburb, so it's not inside the city.
You hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
I don't know, something happened with the sound. I don't know, Julian, yes. You hear me?
Yes, I hear you, and I hear my sound too. I mean, the sound behind the.
I write to Julian that it's something wrong with the sound. He will fix it for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so, we're good. I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you start to play basketball like real preparation and everything in home weight.
Yes, that's correct.
Who was first coach there? Who was influencing you in that age at the most?
Well, when I started, I was pretty late. I was already 16 years old, which is not really a common thing to start basketball at the age of 16. I played football, soccer, it's a regularly. And then because I grow so much, and I have to change sports. So basketball, I thought is gonna be a better fit for me. So I decided to change sports and go.
David?
Yes, I hear you.
I don't know, something. It's I hear you all the time in delay.
Me too.
Like an echo,
Me
but
too.
very strong.
Me too. Yes, me too.
I don't know if the guy from can hear us normally. Julian told me that everything is okay.
Okay. So hopefully it's gonna be okay. So keep going. Okay, we can
keep going. Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So I had. You hear me? It's again.
Maybe you have the volume. Maybe you have the volume on some device.
So what are we gonna do? Because it's gonna come back and it's so disturbing.
You can talk, but it's a problem with the sound. Just a second, please.
Okay. Okay.
David, David, maybe you have a problem. Maybe you have something open. Turned off everything except the phone.
Okay.
Julian is telling me that the guys who they can hear us very normal, but for us it's.
I turned off everything. It's nothing around me is on now. Everything is off. It's still the same.
I will turn off also everything. I don't know. I don't know. Let's keep going. Okay, David?
Yes, I'm here.
I cannot understand. Well, why everything went well until one moment, and now we have this echo.
Right.
Let's try to go further. Tell me how you was drafted in the NBA. How this chance came to you, and how you responded.
Well, that's the other unbelievable story, because I was discovered in the preparation game in August, and then Marcel, we have to start. I think is why we not start disconnect and you call and we recalling each other. I mean, you call me again.
Okay, we disconnect and we start again.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's not good. Try again.
Come back in a second. Mă auziți? Tehnica ne omoară. Da. Iulian, mă auzi? Uite, și acum se aude cu ecou, e ceva, nu pot să spun, nu. Iulian, dacă mă auzi, te rog, oprește un pic transmisia până când ne aranjăm, ca să... Mă auzi? Deci acum suntem doar Iulian și nu se aude, deci se aude cu ecou.
Okay, you hear me, Marcel?
Yeah, I'm here. You see me?
Okay. Yes.
Yes. But I don't know, I cannot see you. Maybe you can put the video on.
Okay.
Okay.
You see me now. Okay, now hopefully it's gonna be okay again.
So tell me the big story.
So the story, how was... Not again. I don't know what is this. Okay, anyway, because it's so loud, when I start talking, it's so loud. The echo is so disturbing.
It's disturbing because it's coming after our words. It's coming, so we cannot focus.
Right.
But the people who can hear us, they cannot hear the echo. Only we two will hear.
Okay. So the story is it's unbelievable. The preparation game was in 90. I think it's 95 or 96, 95. I think 95 or 96 when I played just a preseason game in Hungary, and then after the short tournament, it was in August. The American guy who I obviously don't know who was he approached me and he told me why I'm not trying out myself in a US, and I say, well, I wish I could, but how? Because at that time I don't have agent, I don't have managers, I don't have no one who help us to get the contact with anybody. So he told me that, okay, listen, we can figure it out, but you should go to the States, and then at least you have to play in a summer league. I said, okay, I play a summer league, whatever league I play. I was obviously interesting to go and it looks to me as a huge challenge, but I don't know which team. So I could. He said, okay, don't worry. He asked my phone number and everything, and after the whole season, I didn't hear anything about him. So I played the whole season, and then after the season, he tried to connect me, but connect through with the other person who lives in Canada, and he's a Canadian, and he knows my dad with work related stuff, not for sports, work related stuff. And then he told me this guy from America, he contacted with him because he has some connection to Hungary, and he asked about me, and this guy helped me back the connection with this person, and he said, okay, I give you a chance. I try to find a team for you in the summer league. So I still don't hear anything about the NBA, anything. I just say there's a chance to play in the summer league, which is good. I don't know the team and nothing. So later on, 2 or 3 weeks later, he called me back, the Chicago Bulls summer league team, looking for a player. And I said, Jerry Krause, the general manager, will call me. I said, who? What? I have no idea what's going on. I'm watching the Bulls, obviously, in that time on TV, just like any other people watching the Bulls.
They were already 5 times champions.
Yes, exactly. So I just said, wow, okay. So Chicago Bulls. I said, yes, okay. We it's a chance. So Jerry Krause called me, and then he told me, well, we have an open summer league spot, and if you're willing to pay your tickets and everything else to come to the States, we might have a chance to see you in this summer league. I said, okay, whatever. I buy my tickets to the States, but obviously behind the scene, the Bulls is already scouting the scout over here, and they ask about me, and the person who I just talked about, the Canadian guy, he prepared everything, all files about me, like my games, my bio, everything, So send it to Jerry Krause. Jerry Krause checked on this scout, European scout, who is this guy and what, blah blah. But they didn't tell me obviously what's going on behind the scenes. Just told me, okay, you have to buy a ticket and go there. And I bought my ticket. I sit in the plane and I fly to the Chicago, and then practiced a few days with the facility, the Bulls facility, and then fly to Salt Lake City where the summer league happened, and I played the summer league 5 games. So that was my story, which is kind of strange.
and it's unbelievable, but it's happening, and that's happened because you was very good. The press from America was calling you Michael Jordan from Hungary, so they knew about you.
Well, that's interesting because first, that's another, it's a long process. I obviously we played 5 summer league games, and I played good in the first 3 summer league games. But I know Phil Jackson and the whole coaching staff will come to just the end of the summer league, the last 2 games they want to watch it, and then they came to the games, in the last 2 games, where I didn't play good anymore. So, and but our coaching staff and the summer league coaching staff, they already told him, hey, this guy, you have to see this guy. You have to see this guy because this guy is gonna be good. He watched me, but I didn't play good. So after that, he told me, well, I heard about you, but you have to prove yourself. So you have to come back September, and we'll see what's happened. So that's how I went back, and obviously they already, they not the players, but the the coaches, and the front office. They already knows I'm kind of talented players who played only Hungary, and then nobody really knows about me outside of my country. So I have to prove myself over there, and that's what I try. That's why I find myself to play with Jordan, Rodman, Pippen in the October camp out of Hungary, out of the Hungarian league. So that was a huge challenge.
And how was to practice with? Did you practice with Michael Jordan actually?
Well, yes, I spent the whole Last Dance, which is ongoing documentary right now with the Bulls. And
we come there. Don't worry.
So I was with them in a whole October, the whole preseason camp. I practiced with them. I spent the time with them. I play with in preseason games. I wasn't traveled to Paris, but because I have a small injury, but I was with them, and I spent the whole time with the team, and obviously it was huge difference. It's first the language. I have to learn the basketball language, the basketball terminology, which the Bulls using, which was kind of difficult because I never heard coaches talking that way and people talking that way. Obviously, I learned in school, but I could throw out the windows what I learned in school because it was totally different.
Everything what you knew until then was zero.
Yeah, that's right. So I had to learn the language, learn everything, the whole terminology, everything, the plays, the system, the triangle offense, everything I have to learn. And then, but the biggest difference obviously was the speed of the game and athleticism and strength, because the players was that time it's much stronger than European players, and the speed of the game was really different than here in Europe and here in Hungary.
And tell me, you must tell us something about Michael Jordan, like person and like player. You must tell us.
Well, it's interesting because it's so many stories about him, how he was with the players and teammates, especially in the last year when he was with the Bulls. He was so hard on players, so tough on them. They want them to practice as hard as they can. But in the rookies, we have three rookies and me, so 4 rookies. He was nice with us. Obviously, we have to do the rookie stuff, bringing donuts, bringing that the old school stuff, which is just every players have to go through when he's young.
We
not
did
like
it
now, not like that. Now it's totally different world, but back then it's kind of tough.
It's now if you do that like veteran, then you get in the Facebook that you are a dictator.
Absolutely.
No, that was
that's right. So that was you have to go to start carrying bags and all those kind of stuff. But other than that, he's never was too hard on us. He's actually asked us, okay, where you come from, where is that country, where all those kind of stuff after the practice. Obviously, we not sit together and go out for dinner or whatever, but we spend time as a team, in the locker room and the plane when we went to the preseason games. What was a two interesting story, which is one. It's like it was shocking for me. First, actually, both was pretty shocking for me. The first one is like after every practice, he take his shoes off and sign the autograph and put it in in a big basket and bring out the new shoes. So every day he changed shoes. He have a bunch of shoes. Just the equipment manager just every week just pull the rack of shoes, and he after the
in our time that was something unbelievable.
Yeah, so he just sign it and throw it away after one practice, because that shoes go for the charity or those kind of stuff. Give it away for free for people or whatever. And he take the other shoes. So that was crazy. He goes up there. I use one pair of shoes for the whole season.
if you are lucky.
Yeah, that's right. So I said, okay. So I have to at least have a couple of pairs next time. For the season. And then the other thing was like funny. After the hard week or something, we have a hard practice. Like Friday, when we know is like the next day is no practice in the morning, or which was very few times. He has a little box of cigars in his locker room. So he finished the practice and went to his locker, opened the little box, pull out the cigar, cut it, light it out, and smoke one cigarette. And he said that, well, that was a tough week, so I deserve it. And he take a towel and went to the shower. So that's how I finished the practice. So these two things is pretty interesting. I know he smoked cigar, regularly, not obviously every day or maybe every day. You don't see that or after every practice, but he smoked cigar, especially after they winning or something occasionally. But that was more like occasionally.
Did he challenge you in one-on-one, because he's famous that he must play with everybody and beat everybody?
Oh yeah, well he was challenged every single time in practice. You doesn't need to play one-on-one with him, because even if you just shoot the free throw or shoot the jumpers, he just he wants to beat you. He wants to stand next to you and start contesting. Yeah, start playing. Okay, let's count it. The same like when we start the practice. The baseline warm-up drills, running side to side. He always was the first. He always was. They don't want anybody just beat him in the warm-up. So he was so focused in practice. He was expecting from the same approach for everyone. That's why was so many times he arguing with players, with teammates, and tell them, okay, let's go, let's focus, man, let's keep it, let's play defense. It's nothing, it's bullshit, So he's cursing out players sometimes and tell them it's not right. But he does the thing which the way he thought is the only way to achieve the goal, to be a champion. So that was great. But also when he plays, I always bring this example when anybody asks me how was when he play in practice, when we play 5-on-5, 3-on-3 or whatever. And always told him he was so good. It's like the pro player go to the kindergarten and play with kids. So he played the basketball so easily, because it doesn't matter who guarded him. If he wants to beat somebody, he beat him. He shoot over him. He played one-on-one with him. He played the give and go, pass the ball and make a cut. He played the game so easily. It was incredible, how easy he played the game. And he played hard, but he played easy, and was no comparison. I had a chance to see LeBron in practice later on when I was scouting, and LeBron was so mentally prepared when he was 19 and 20 years old. He was so ahead of everybody in his head, in his age group. But Michael Jordan was in his peak. He was incredible how good he was. Incredible.
You just ruined one of my questions, which I will put
Sorry.
to you later. No problem. Look, you get there. So Michael Jordan is the ultimate winner. no mercy, no compromise.
Absolutely. He will win in a basketball court and off the court too. He played cards when we travel in a plane or whatever, and he wants to play in the cards too, between teammates. He's not finishing after he's not winning. so, so somebody was falling asleep after the game. He just started hitting. No, man, one more, because he always wants to beat someone. So he was so competitive. That's for sure.
We all see now this documentary, The Last Dance. And of course, it's a huge interest. Everybody's commentating. It's speaking up his opinion. And
this
you
one?
got exactly. Yeah, exactly. You have the original. Oh, I'm so happy.
I have the original. I have it. I have. Obviously, I got this one. So that's the original one.
Man, you have to make a copy for me, and you have to promise me now.
I can't do that, man. It's go for the ages now.
Okay, so you got there exactly before The Last Dance, in the middle of The Last Dance. And as we all could see in the movie, in the documentary, it was a huge pressure between coach, players, and Jerry Krause, and the manager of the team. How did you sense this pressure, this tension? You could feel it in the team.
Well, it's interesting because obviously I think when I watching this documentary and I was there, so I knew what happened. I think the regular players, not just me, the other ones, not really sense it that hard. What happened between Pippen and with Krause, Pippen and or Jordan with Krause. We only sense, and actually, we only sense things like when it's always some kind of the word between them. We had a practice, and Jerry Krause came down and say a couple of words before the practice or after the practice. And there's always MJ or Pippen who was hurt that time, but he was in the practice facility and rehab, doing his rehab. He walk on. He's always like MJ makes some jokes, towards to Jerry, for example, like which you see already in the documentary. Hey Jerry, you come play with us, shoot some hoops or whatever. But these jokes was sometimes, it's like I think regular players never cross the line, but because I didn't know the relationship between them before when I was there. I thought this is normal. Jordan can talk to the general manager that way, So I don't know is it normal or not normal, but I never witnessed during that month any shouting, cursing at each other, disrespecting that much like in the documentary for example, just go back and forth, loudly. They have some jokes. Maybe it's a little bit more than jokes when Jordan said something to Jerry like okay, Jerry, you just you can just walk off. You talk too much, So that's kind of the stuff, or for example, the chewing gum because they chew during the practice. The paper, do the little ball with the paper of the chewing gum, and he just throw after him. So that kind of stuff, it's happened. But Jerry Krause has ignored it. He just walk off. He never turn back and start, making a scene or something. You know what I mean? So it's like obviously was some tension, but during practices, before practices, Jerry not really come down and spend time with the players. He was upstairs. His office was upstairs, watching out of the window from his office upstairs, or he just walk down a couple of times for a minute or two. That's it. So we never really feel that that was a huge tension between him and Pippen and Jordan.
Who was the weirdest, most eccentric player from the Bulls?
Ron Harper.
Ron Harper.
Ron Harper. He was terrible. That's great. He was
a hell of defense player, man.
Yes, he was. He was before, but not that time was. He was. I think was all a little bit like downhill on his career. He was some injuries. He sometimes practices not, but he was a heck of a player. He was a really good player when he played for Cleveland. So he was really good, and he played good for the Bulls too. I played with him next year when Jordan, Pippen, and Ben left. He was there, and he was my teammate. And at that time, he was a little different. I'm not saying he was so friendly, but he was so different. And so many years later, when I met him again in somewhere else off the court, he was so nice to me, But that time, he was the biggest asshole, He was the biggest asshole for the rookies.
More than Rodman.
Rodman did not speak to anybody. He did not speak to anybody. He came late for practice. He came late. He never showed up on time. He came late. What he does is he came late with the pajamas or something, and he goes straight for the weight room, and which was next to the basketball court, and he doing some weight, lifting weights, put some, brings, and the practice is already started, and you just already finish the speech, in a huddle. We start the warm up, regular team warm up, and this guy over there, he walk off with the sunglasses, with the hat, and with the pajamas, and do some weight. And he was late, obviously. And we started the warm up, the warm up, and Phil just went over him and talked something. We don't know what he talked to him. And after 5 minutes, Rodman just come to the basketball court and start, warming up with us. Say nothing. Nothing. So didn't say nothing. Nothing. So he was just normal player, unless he's not talking. He's finished the practice. He went to the room next to the court. Obviously talked with the assistant trainer. The guy who make a tape on his ankles. Talk to him. That's the only people who talk to any of his teammates. That was incredible.
Yeah, man. But that's why I was surprised, when I asked you who was the weirder. I thought you would say Rodman, but you said Harper. So
Harper was he was not weird. Obviously, he was a tough on rookies, and he was he was hard on us. He talked obviously a lot, but Rodman was a weirdest player, obviously, in terms of. But he's not with the rookies, not with me, not with anybody. He's just a weird dude. He's just a different guy, different people.
Okay, so they waived you in October. You went back. You won a championship, of course, because it's natural. And then you got the call. Jerry called you again.
Yeah, well, the story is, I try to be shorter because it's so we can talk for a whole night about this. I can't, but I try to make it shorter. So I got waived in the end of October, but they sent me to the Rockford as the CBA team. That time, not G League, there was CBA team. That was the team closest to Chicago, and they sent me over there to develop, to get better and everything. But in December, I decided I'm not going to stay there. So I left. So Jerry told me that time, obviously told that so-called friend as manager, he's still not an agent. He's really mad on me because he thought I would be the guy who got called up, if somebody got hurt, And then I didn't know that. I know that after it, when I left and I came back I went back to Hungary and finished the season, and we won a championship. So Jerry was really mad on me. So we won a championship, and I thought I thought, okay, I'm happy, I'm emotionally high. We won a championship here, so why not? I try again with the Chicago Bulls. And my manager in Canada told me that time, hey, forget about it because Jerry is so mad. He's so still really, he doesn't want to speak with me. He doesn't want to hear my name and everything. I told him, hey, just let's start some basic. I sent him a letter or something to apologize or whatever. So I sent him a letter to him and everything. And nothing happened after a week. And after finally charged the guy who lived in Canada, he told me, okay, he finally picked up the phone and he told me, okay, let's bring him over for the summer league. so, but he didn't say anything else. Just bring him over for a summer league. So I went to the second summer league with the Bulls. And I had to play good in the summer league, and they invited me back. And then I signed the contract with the Bulls for the next 2 seasons.
Hey, you played a lot of games there. You had like 17 minutes per game. It's a very good performance for a player who never played outside of Hungary. So it's a big compliment.
Yeah, first I was lucky because the team was really bad. That's why I played a lot of minutes. No, actually,
somehow is natural because everybody left and they wanted anyway the reconstruction, the rebuilding of the team.
Absolutely.
And it's normal after a peak like 6 seasons when you take from 7, you take 6 trophies. It's normal that one moment when you rebuild, it's not gonna be so great.
Yes, actually, only 6 or 7 players, left on that team. So obviously, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper, Dickie Simpkins, Randy Brown, Bill Wellington, all those guys stayed, for the other year because of their contract. But the other, the rest of our group is like mostly rookies and young guys. That's why we didn't play that good anymore. But
and new coach,
and a new coach. Yes, Tim Floyd was a coach, and obviously we tried to push the triangle, but it did not work. That offensive system they played, and we weren't good that time. But I played a lot of minutes, which, just like you said, which was great for me. Obviously, usually happen in the other direction. When you were a rookie, you play a little bit and start playing more and more. In my career over there, I played, basically more than 15, 17, 18 minutes per game. I was starter a few times, and then after that, the next places where I went, it's like less and less and less. It's like it was opposite. So, but that time was pretty good, and I really enjoyed that 50 game short season. I played all of the games, and it was a great experience. And I'm happy to play one of my idol, Tony Kukoc. He was one of my favorite player ever. So it was fantastic that season. Yes.
I wanted to ask you about Tony Kukoc because he was a very special player, and he had a very rough time in the beginning in Bulls. Everybody, especially MJ, was on him, and I heard a lot of and I read a lot of stories about how they fight over who will guard him in Barcelona to kill him, to make him not score. So it was quite a story around him.
Yes, absolutely. That's all. You basically sum it up. They, when he went there, he was a kind of superstarish young player. He already established in Europe. He won a Euro League or whatever they called that time, Champions League or whatever they called. So he was a really talented player. And Jerry, when he drafted him, he had to wait 3 more years because Tony wasn't about to go there right away because he wanted to play. He doesn't want to go because he was a star already in Europe. He doesn't want to go for not playing. So he had to wait. The Bulls had to wait 3 years, and he went there with a good salary that time. He made good money in Europe already, and he went there with more money than Scottie Pippen and most of the guys. And he had to prove everything. He had to prove again.
And he was the Jerry's boy.
Yes, absolutely, exactly. So that's why they did not like him that much, and we'll see in this documentary later on. He already told Pippen was the most helpful guy when he got there, and he hated him the most before. Just like you said in the '92 Olympic Games. in Barcelona, they tried to kill him, but Tony didn't know that. Tony know that just years after that was a plan for the US team, especially Pippen and Jordan. They fight against who's going to guard him, and Tony didn't know that time, and he obviously he was a player when I got there. He already won championship, and obviously his status was different that time. But he was kind of strange a little bit for me because he wasn't really a helpful, a friendly guy. He was a guy who went through his own battle with these guys. And I think he's take a little toll on him in terms of he doesn't, for him to make a career in the States, especially in the first few years, he had to go through so many battles with players, with teammates and everything to learn the language, learn the triangle offense, the different cultures. So I think he was kind of making distance for everyone, but he was a heck of a player. So I cannot imagine when I play against him in the first one-on-one. I thought, wow, the guy is a different dimension, man. He was taller than me, he handled the ball like guard, he was quick that time. He was lefty. I mean, he can do everything, and he was so smart. It was incredible players. People not realize how great he was. It's just don't realize how good player he was.
I will tell you a little story. We played with the national team exactly before our qualifications for this Olympics. We played qualification in Murcia, and we was in a group with Croatia. And so we played them there. We lost. We didn't lost a lot. We fight them. Probably they didn't put so big pressure on us. But one moment they make press full court. I am the point guard. And I see one guy in the lane of the pass of the Tony Kukoc, but I have to throw the ball over him. And I try. And I said in my head, man, it's high enough. He cannot reach there. Man, he reached that ball. Unbelievable. I said, how he can reach so high the ball. Right. He was like a spider with his long hands.
Right. Incredible. Yes, his tools is incredible. People not realize. I forgot. Obviously, say old footage is how he played, but when you play against him, just like you said, you realize, physically in his size, length, athleticism, rhythm, quickness. That was incredible.
Look, after that in your career, even though your minutes went down, but you had the chance to play with incredible players at that time. You had teammates like I didn't know. I scouted you. I told you 2 days. Now I know a lot of things about you. But you played Sean Kemp as a teammate. You had Vince Carter, even Maxi. You had it. Jerry Stackhouse, Ben Wallace. Man, you was teammate with a heck of the great players.
Charles Oakley, Mark Jackson, the guy who following, exactly, and also Del Curry, Steph Bell. Yeah.
I was so impressed. Which was, except Michael? Okay, that is another league, and Chicago. But except them, who was the player who impressed you the most from the rest of the teams?
Well, it's like, I was fortunate, obviously, to spend some time with those guys and play with them. And Jerry Stackhouse was an incredible player as an offensive player. He was so great. He can drop like 30, 40 points anytime, any given night. But Dell, you got the guys just who grew up and see Steph Curry, how great shooter he is. This shooting is coming from someone. That's his dad. That was an incredible good shooter. He was a different type of player, but in terms of shooting the ball, he was incredible. It's just ridiculous how easy to launch the threes. He was great. But Vince Carter, that was a young Vince Carter. He's a half man, half amazing Vince Carter who just jump out the gym.
And I saw the salaries. He was in the bottom line of the team of Toronto at that time, but with the first in the stats, like far away.
Yeah, so it's like it's crazy how it's hard to name one name. All the names you come from. I was practicing a lot with Magzi. Magzi was an older player. He's the shortest player or one of the shortest players in NBA history. But he was practicing so hard, and his legs. I never see legs since that anybody how strong legs he had. But I understand because I did the work with him. A ton. He came back with the injury, and he running up the stairs in the arenas, big arenas before the game, a lot with the stairs, back and forth, like crazy. He works so hard. Always play with him as a shooting contest, And Bugsy beat me almost every time. But he was such a good person too. So, but everybody else, I cannot name other bad person, who wasn't really friendly with me, or was arrogant or tough. All those guys who you mentioned, and they were really nice. They were cool, and even nowadays, if I meet some of them, they still remember me. So, which is good because I not spent them for 4, 5, 6 years. In Toronto, I was in a half season, which the Raptors was really good. They went to the Eastern Conference Final that year, and Lenny Wilkins was the coach. I was traded to Detroit, and Detroit with Ben Wallace, Jerry Stackhouse. So those guys, still, if I saw Ben Wallace, I met him last year or 2 years ago. He was so nice. So it's a good because they somehow the work you put in, you get respected, and I think that's the only way you can earn respect, if you work hard, maybe harder, and try to be tougher, in terms of working out. You can earn a respect for in front of those guys, So
it's true. If somebody can say something about you, first of all, it's a work ethic. Everybody, everywhere you played, said the same thing. David, great work ethic, hard worker every time, every practice, every game.
Well, yes, as I told you in the beginning, I started late, and nobody told me talented. So I have to prove. I always have to prove. So it's not like you're growing up and you said, okay, this is a talented player, and you have some days off because in your age group you're good enough to beat anybody. So I have to prove myself always, to show them, okay, I'm good enough, at least that good enough than the other talented players. Nobody tells me that. And then later, I think that's in my career, it's helped me a lot to motivate. It's never enough. I have to put more work, because if I put more work, it's gonna be rewarded. Even if you play more minutes, even if you're gonna be in a starting five, even if you get respected for others. So that's the only thing I believed, and I'm believing nowadays too. If you put enough work, it's a good base to be successful in the basketball court, and I think that's the basic philosophy I had.
It's true. One more question about the NBA, and we leave America and we come back in Europe, where you was very successful again. So, kind of when you got in the States, your natural position in which you was built in Europe was power forward, 4. I read and I saw that they kind of force you to play more like small forward.
Right.
And now my question is, if your coaches in your early years would prepare you as a guard more like as a big, would be more helpful for you in your future NBA career?
Absolutely. That's the key. Just Marcel, basketball, very well. Not just you have experience and everything. So Absolutely. That's the key. And I think it could help me a lot when I started late. Even I started late, they not put me because I'm a tall guy. Okay, you have to go inside. You have to go under the basketball because you're tall. You get rebounds and you can finish around the basket. I I have to learn the basic basketball fundamentals basically by myself in terms of dribbling the ball, change direction, So those kind, I have to put some work in the national team. I never forget, always joking me, because we were in a practice camp in the national team. I was a national team player already, and I always get 2 balls after the practice, and I start running the track around the football field, and dribbling 2 basketballs, and then my teammates in the national team, they start laughing at me from the window. Come on, man! Come on, take a shower. We have to go to lunch and everything. What you doing? You crazy? We just finished practice. I said, well, just keep laughing, man. Let's see who's laughing later. So I had to do those kind of stuff because I have to learn. I have to catch up with others, and it wasn't enough. Because when I was in the NBA, it could be enough in the Hungarian league, or it would be enough in some games in Europe. But in the NBA, it's basically impossible if you don't have the basketball fundamentals as a young player, and then you have to learn when you grow up, and you have to play 1-on-1 with Ron Artest. Ron Artest was Meta World Peace was drafted in my second year with the Bulls. Third year actually with the Bulls, and he was a small forward, and he was, you guys know his career. He's an incredible, good defender, good with the ball, strong, or play against guy like Al Harrington in Indiana, or even Grant Hill, or whatever guys. You have to guard them and play offense against them, even if it's triangle offense. It's really difficult without basic fundamentals. It's almost impossible to play. So I was between positions. Even if I have a good hands to shoot the basketball, I lacking that kind of skills, to be stable with the ball, creating offense, against high-ranked, high-profile athletes, NBA talent. It was so difficult. It was so difficult.
Okay, you got back in Europe. Strasbourg, first station, great season, 17 points per game. Great. Immediately, Žalgiris take you. 16 points per game in EuroLeague, win the national title. Immediately, ACB call. You go in Tau Keramica. And now you have the coach, Duško Ivanović.
Duško, my favorite coach ever.
How many hours did you practice per day?
You can imagine. You cannot imagine. In the first year, I always thought this is not a joke. Seriously, the first year, first of all, they told me before I signed the contract, don't sign the contract for Baskonia because Duško is a coach. He's gonna kill you and give you 2 years minimum out of your career. So I said, well, okay, just raise my salary for 30% and I will sign them. I told the president. So, obviously not raise my salary for 30%, but I get a little raise to sign them, so which was good. Anyway, so I signed them. The first year, never forget, started preseason 15th of August. And we finished that season, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they finished end of June because the ACB finished. We played the finals, or maybe not in the first year, maybe a second year. I'm not sure. But anyway, so that season we play a ton of games because we play in a Spanish league. We play in a Kings Cup. We won a Kings Cup, the Spanish Cup. We won a Super Cup in September. That's the early cup. We went to the Final Fours. We played the finals against Maccabi, and we played the ACB finals against Real Madrid, and next year with Malaga. And then we had like 4 days off. 4 days off.
4 days off?
4 days off when 4 days without basketball. It's very difficult to believe because obviously we have some days off, but we have to go to the gym to watching film. We have to go to shooting a little bit. We have to go for stretching. We have to go for running in the boots. So we always had some kind of basketball activity. So the whole season long, starting the August 15th till end of the season. Only 4 days when you can spend the time with your family to go, somewhere else or something. Even in Christmas time, because it's Serbian, from Montenegro, it doesn't have Christmas. They said, okay, we have 1 day with the family. We have to practice next day, and we practiced before too. So it was incredible. But you know what? It was really tough because it's tough for everybody around me because basically you practice twice a day, and then obviously sometimes you have one practice, but it was a long one. You practice, eat, sleep, practice, travel. So that was what.
A lot of fun.
That was your zero fun. That was zero fun. And and we're winning. So but we cannot enjoy the win. So let's say we win. I forgot we won 14 games in a row, and then we lost in a German team in the EuroLeague or whatever. I think it was Bamberg or whatever. We lost one game. He came to the locker room. I was in Germany, and he told us in a locker room, well, we're not going back to Vitoria, and then you go straight to the gym, and we start practicing, because I'm not gonna be around with losers. I'm a winner. And we're gonna make some changes in the roster. Everybody was, after one loss, he said, I don't care. I told you guys before the season. I don't care lose. If somebody had the mentality not winning, it's better just stand up and walk away, because I don't take losing guys. I told you guys, you lost today. You're not focusing good enough. And somebody just almost say, Dushko, we won 14 games in a row. Guys are tired, but as soon as he says something, you better just don't say it, because Dushko said multa, which means Spanish is a fine, And in practice, he said all the time, he's like, it's like you're making a wrong cut. Macijauskas, a Lithuanian player, for example, they're making a wrong cut 3 times. The 4th time, he said multa, fine, you have to pay. Go upstairs and pay. So it's like it was tough. It's a really tough season. It was a really tough season.
Okay, but in 2 years with him, you lost. You won cup. You played the final of the EuroLeague.
Exactly.
Tough loss against Maccabi, but big win against CSKA. I remember at that time they was taking that Final Four. They finally they can win something, and it was huge disappointment because they went on a 4th place.
Yeah, exactly. And then CSKA was not just a favorite; they were undefeated in that season. They didn't have one losses all season long, and we play against them, I think, 3 times in that season, and we lost against them, or maybe 4 times, because it was a different system. And we lost all of the games. And then we go to Moscow to play against them. We beat them in Moscow, and everybody just was crazy after the game. But
you had a very good game. You was a big contributor.
Yeah, I tried. I had to. If you want to play for Dushko, you have to kill yourself every night on the court, because other than that, you're not playing. It's that simple.
You guys had a great team, actually. I mean, you had the mini Argentina in your team.
Yes.
Plus one of the best players from Spain. So Americans, you had a great team. Also, before, when you didn't make the Final Four, you had a great team also with Nocioni. Yeah. Why Nocioni left?
Yeah, he went to the Chicago Bulls. That's
why I left.
Yes, you're right. I think we had maybe the not the best, but one of the best roster in that era, for teams. It's definitely because Scola, Prigioni, Calderon, Nocioni, name it, Mateuszkas, Lithuanian guy,
Mateuszkas, he was great shooter, yes, unbelievable.
Exactly. So we had a heck of a team, and everybody was so hungry, and then everybody wants to win, and those Argentinians, most of them never played nowhere, never played for other coaches, and they thought when they came over from Argentina, this is the way in Europe. This is the coaching way to Europe. So they were working so hard, and nobody complained except Nocioni. He was the only guy who always complained. But they were heck. It's a good group of guys, and also is a good teammates. I'm really happy with them, and I'm happy with play for them with them. And we have a great group of guys because that tough, practices and everything is make the team, together. And we were together on and off the court, so which was really helpful and really, really important for the success.
Hey, next year, next coach Perasovic, same Final Four, great result.
Same Final Four and the same style of coaching. A little bit more cursing. Cursing at players like crazy, but yeah, absolutely.
Maybe less fines.
But yeah, that's fine. Exactly, that's fine. But cursing out players, crazy. Thiago was always on Thiago Splitter. He's a Brazilian kid. He was really young, and he had a good career. Also, he played and won in the NBA. He was always a young guy, and Peras is always try to kill him. And
on his head.
And then so it was good time with when you look back, it obviously was tough in that part, but just like you say, we were so successful. We play, even if we lost finals, it's you play for a title. It's always play for something. If you're in the finals, you can say, okay, it's good if you every time you win. Obviously, it's great, but you have a chance to win is also very important. I think it's most people is let's say underestimated to be in a final and finish in the second. It's nobody really remember the second place teams, but I think as a player, it's and also as a coach, I think I never coached, but I think it's so important to be in the finals and competing for titles. And we had a lot of chance to compete in those years. Yes.
You talked about luck, how important it is. In this series, in these two Final Fours, you had a little bit of bad luck to get Maccabi in the toppest form ever. They won 3 EuroLeagues in a row with under Pini Gershon, and they was playing a heck of the good basketball, especially scoring a lot of points from outside.
Heck of a team, really good team, like Anthony Parker, Jessica Vicius,
Derek Sharp,
and yes, Sharp, Maceo Baston, Vujicic, who's a Maccabi sport director, a big guy, hell of a player. He was so good. That team was unbelievably well coached and well prepared. Great roster too. A lot of good players. So it was actually the luck. Well, we don't have luck. You know why we don't have luck? I'll tell you. This is a story, short story, very short. We had a game against Panathinaikos in the semifinals, and not in the well, maybe not. No, Maccabi played semifinals in the Panathinaikos, and we play. I don't remember. Anyways, we finished the second game. Oh, we play against CSKA. Just we talk about. I'm stupid. So we played the second game. The first game was Maccabi Panathinaikos, and then that was an overtime game. So our game started later, and it was Friday. Saturday was off, and Sunday played the finals. So next day we went to practice with Dushko, of course. So we had a practice, but we're not just practicing like shooting a little bit or whatever, talk about Maccabi offense or tactics. We start running around the gym outside, running around the gym, go inside, fast break drills, doing just a normal practice, normal regular practice. So when we headed back to after the regular practice to the hotel, we were in the same hotels. And that time it was around noon, Jasikevicius and Anthony Parker walked down almost with the short and with the flip flaps, and they asked us, "What you guys doing? Where you been?" Said, "We practice, man. You look at us, man, sweating like crazy, What you expecting, man? We push-ups and sit-ups, And they just look at us, crazy. We don't have practice today. We have one shoot around tomorrow." So they have a day off. They have a day off.
Pini was working more on the mental side.
Incredible. Pini was
He's an incredible guy.
Yes, he was so, he's managing things, managing personalities, managing, things on how much weight put on people. So it's like, it was so great. Dushko believing just to work hard, practice hard, and let's see the result, So I think that I don't know how much is affecting our, start in the game, because we started really bad. We started like 0 for 7 or 0 for 8. Maccabi just dunking all over our heads. But I think it's us, if we do, redo this thing, I think will be no practice on Monday, just a shooting practice and before the game, and that's it.
Finally, every time is different game, man. You need to be prepared mentally, especially for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Look, I have millions of questions, so I prepared millions of questions, but we have somehow to reduce the number of the questions, because otherwise we'll finish tomorrow morning. So you played another 2 years after that in Gran Canaria. You played Euro Cup that time, and at 36 or 8 you finished your career.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, it's enough. You became president, immediately title, immediately Hungarian Cup. Bravo. And I want to talk more now.
I had just a small part of it. It's just a really small part of it. It's a big part of it. Other people in the organization, and obviously the coaches, the players, and it's obviously their results. I was just small part of it.
But look, I will quote your ex-manager Jerry Krause. Not only the players and the coaching staff win a championship, but the whole organization.
Well, I agree with that. What both of them say, because I think it's Jordan said no. Organization is not winning. The players are winning. I think the players has to produce and the coaches have to produce, but our organization has to do something with that. So I think the truth somehow in the middle. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Anyway, what I want to talk more now, it's about your project, a project which you invest a lot of feeling in this, because you develop young players. And I want to that you talk more now about and focus our discussion about your academy.
Yes, so we founded this academy like 20 years ago, which is a long time. When I was a player, obviously I wanted to do something right away in Székesfehérvár, which helps kids to come to play basketball. That was a basic idea. More players, because that time only like 50 or maybe less than 50 players played for the club, club level. As the youth program, let's say that it wasn't really a youth program, because every team has to have some youth age group teams. So the first idea was bringing kids, more kids, give them the chance to play basketball, give them education to connecting with schools, and also try to build their life sports, itself. And, that was an idea which obviously we still has, at the moment. And we never really focused on winning in a youth level, because I think it's still my philosophy is nowadays, if winning in a youth level, it could mislead. It's obviously depends of the system of your federation and the country you live. It push aside the talented players, because you want to win so badly, and using players who were more mature than others. You can advantage of the other teams. You're focusing winning, and you're not focusing the basketball fundamentals. You're not focusing enough for teaching kids to be a better player individually, and then adding to them for the whole as a team. So it's not is the same philosophy. So that's why what I try to implement and tell our coaches when we had a chance to teach them how to pass the ball, teach them how to stop, teach them, all those basketball fundamentals which needed to have as a young players, because we just touched that, you mentioned when I played 3 or 4 spots, between power forward and small forward, with how much I miss those things. So I think it's so important for them, even if sometimes it's boring for the coaches, but it's so much responsibility they have to teach those kids for the fundamentals of basketball. And obviously, if they teach them right how to shoot the ball, how to dribble the ball, where he need to head, to looking, and all those kind of, and teach them right now for all the positions, not just characterize the young guy for big and small. Teach them everything, because that's the basketball now, positionless basketball we talk about right now. I think it's so important, and I think it's for us. It's that's our philosophy to keep it that way. And obviously, so many things to need to do to be successful. You need a certain age group, enough talent to get results, even individually or as a team. You need also the team in front of you who can be an example, and example in terms of, okay, you can be there as a player, not as a bench warmer, because so many teams had as a big team, and talk about the first division team, so pushed by the result oriented environment, which means like not important really what is behind that and how many youth players can go up and can improve there and play there. More important for them to get the result every single year, doesn't matter how, and it's I think it's like finding the balance. It's always difficult, but right now we had independent academy. We don't pending to not no one. We're not connecting directly with the first team. We had a chance to let the player grow, let the player improve their development program. It's a lot of individual practices. Obviously, need to be in to compete, which means like you have to be there somehow to compete, to have a chance to play against the best teams, but not necessarily the results in the first in our minds.
This is a very good and healthy thinking, and I also agree that this is the only way to develop players, because in a youth period it's not important to develop teams. It's important only to have target to develop the prospects in order to be a very good players in senior teams.
Absolutely.
You are working now also as a scouter in NBA. You was a scouter in Cleveland, Phoenix, and now in Milwaukee Bucks. And now short quizzes. Which is the best discovery player what you actually brought it into the NBA?
Well, I cannot finish it short because it's my job is not necessarily bringing players to the NBA or any teams. I it's no secret anymore, outside for our bubble in terms of discovering players. We know the players just like other 29 NBA teams. All 30 teams, hunting to find a prospect who nobody knows. But it's no hidden talent or just very few. If somebody is a hidden talent, is nobody know, he's gonna be discovered right away, and his name is gonna be on the one of the social media or whatever, and every scout go there and watch it. So our job and my job is I'm seven. This is my 7th season with the Bucks. It's like finding the right player. That's the different things. Finding the player, it's also important. But tell about the player who can fit for us with our culture, our system. Can play with Giannis Antetokounmpo. He can adapt the system and can fit our philosophy defensively and offensively. That's the most important thing. And I also need the luck, because even if I find the players who I know and rank them, because we have to always rank the players the best to the worst. If some other team has a chance to pick them ahead of us, they're gonna take those players off. So I cannot bring the players to our staff. I just can tell them, okay, this is my rankings before the draft. This is our rankings, because one of my colleagues is also in Europe, so we do both of us the same. Try to gathering information and narrow it. So many players for the sort of list which we can predict them. Okay, this guy next year, 2 years now, or 5 years now, where he's gonna be. This is the toughest part, because you have to tell the general manager, okay, if you pick these players and if these players available for our draft pick, he can be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years now for the player as a starter, a reserve player, end of the bench player, or whatever. And the general manager, out of our words and out of our jobs, reports, and information, has to decide, okay, I give him a $2 million contract. So that's the responsibility, because he might come over once or twice during the season and see the guy who maybe in that game is playing bad. But we following these players since they're 16, 15, 16, and start until they're going to turn 19 to be eligible to the draft. We have 4 years to gathering all information and narrowing down the margin of the mistakes. It's still, you don't know, because they obviously never had a chance to play in the NBA and never had a chance to play in America, never had a chance to play with a bunch of NBA guys by himself or whatever. So it's really difficult to find, but you have to work on, just like we talked before this conversation, how much video. This is just the basketball side, when you see what he can do, what he's capable of, and what he's gonna do in the future. But also you have to figure out the personality. Okay, who is this guy? How to handle situation, winning, losing, how coachable he is, how can he listen. If you coach talk to him, this guy maybe walk after the huddle, the time would walk on the court and forgot what the coach was telling him. So you have to see the guys over and over, find out, talk to coaches, talk to people, talk anybody except the players, to know him personally, in terms of, where does this come from, how he can handle situation, to know, okay, if he go to the States by himself, how quickly can he adapt. So that's the complex job. It's not just pick the players and go over there.
What young players should know, like resume on what you said, is: one, if you are good, somebody will find you, will watch you. And absolutely. Second, if he finds you, every step in your life, no important, on ball, on court, or off court, it's very important.
Absolutely. Always exceptions. I said always exception, because that's the beauty of the things. Even if everything is clicking with one guy, he's a professional, he's never go out, he got steady girlfriend, he's come from a good family, he's always in practice, he's coachable, and blah 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 blah. And when he goes over there, he just collapses because he just shaking and don't know what to do and can't respond, and he needs like a year to do that. And also the opposite guy who just heard bad things about the guy, and his guy go out, he's a little lazy, but he had a heck of a talent, and go there and clicking. But it's always especially when they making decisions on players, sign them a contract, they always standing for the guys who had less red flags, if you know what I mean. Red flags mean like if you have, a cleaner state, very few of them take the guys who had troubles of court issues. Somebody still give them a chance, and maybe more teams give them a chance, but that could bounce out one place to other. So I think it's important for young players to realize how important for them to playing the right way, practicing the right way, learning the right way, but also off the court, you have to be between, lines. You don't have to cross. If
some margins.
Exactly, some
margins which is of decency.
Exactly. So you have to know, and you have to learn really quickly. Every action you had, it comes with responsibility. It comes with consequences. That's so important. It's consequences if you think, okay, I can get over it if I go out for 2 days or something. No, it's affecting you somehow, some way. You don't know. You never know, and you never know when the eyes on you. It's in my just like I told you, in my example, show that I was in a preseason game in August, which is everybody just came off the practice camp, don't know play basketball. It just if the guy is not there and don't see me playing hard and going after rebounds and diving the floor, maybe never see. So it's not that always Scott's on the big games or Scott. Maybe Scott's there. Maybe you don't know. Most of the time I go where nobody knows. I sit in the fence, and I'm watching a player. Not like always, okay, I'm going with the big games. I go and practice, if they let me in, I watch in the practice. The guys don't know who the scouts and who you're watching, So it's not easy.
Another question. Hangada, very nice player. Chances to go in the NBA. I know that he's almost there, but he's not there.
Yes, it's a very interesting story because I obviously he came from our academy. He was in Fehérvár. He started there, and then he played basically in the first team, and he was drafted by San Antonio Spurs. So I follow him pretty closely. I have a good relationship with him. We talk when I have a chance to go to Barcelona games, obviously, and then so I think he has all the tools, and he had all the tools, and he has all the tools to be there and play and compete in the NBA. And I was 100% sure he's going there some point of his career, but I think his circumstances somehow is just not happening the way which should happen, and then he was so close one time, and I think it is I don't know who fault was that, San Antonio, his representation, or his fault, or whatever. I don't want to go with the details. I don't know what happened exactly, but I think him to play where he playing now for Barcelona, that's one of the best place to ever you can play as a basketball player. So I don't think he's in his mind is still there to be in NBA. I think he's reached that level which is outside of the NBA as the top. You cannot. It's Real Madrid, Barcelona. It's like a top. You cannot go more than that. You cannot. And he's playing a good team. He's playing for years now with them. He's playing a lot of minutes. I think he's satisfied with that, and he's always competing, which is also important, I think, to being in a competitive team. And therefore, I think it's really hard to see him now to give up that thing to be in the NBA and start from the zero, because he has to start from the zero. Because if you go there, doesn't matter what your achievement is, you have to, even nowadays, which is I think is much more easier to be there as a European player or international players, and not that harsh than before. But I think you still have to prove yourself. Barcelona, he doesn't need to prove himself anymore. He doesn't have that. He has to prove himself every day in practice to keep it that form, that that ability to can play a lot of minutes. But it's still different than you go somewhere else when you have the same type of players than you, like 6 of them or 5 of them, and you have to prove to play minutes, and you compete against the same type of players. So it's like, I think for him, if the chance is comes up, because I think he's 31 now. I think he's turned 31. It's very slim now to go to the NBA, but you never know, because it's the NBA, just like I said, is open, so you never know if
the green line is missing. The green light is missing. Okay, the ultimate question you must answer.
Okay.
Jordan or LeBron?
Very easy. Jordan. For me, it's never been a question. Never ever. I was fortunate because I play against LeBron in my last summer league. My last summer league, that was my 5th summer league. I was with the Boston Celtics, and that was summer league in Boston. And LeBron was drafted that year. That was his first and only summer league, and I played against him in the summer league in that game in Boston. I obviously was young, but everybody see that he was special. He was so special and so great. But I also saw him when I started with Cleveland. With a young player, how he handled himself, how he interacted with players and coaches during practices. Because I started scouting for the Cavs, and I spent time with them in the preseason and traveled with the team and everything. So I saw LeBron really closely to his early years in the league, and he's special. And after 17 years of career he had, is incredible. He break all the records and everything, which is over Jordan right now in terms of most of the records he's already achieved or over. But I think it's the level of the players for that category, which is only a few, maybe 3 or 2 or whatever. It's nothing else matters, just championships. How many you have, and not just how many you have, how you reach that championship. And Jordan is 6-0, which is it's really difficult to beat. And then this is one thing, just in terms of results and records, which Ruben already, I mentioned to break a lot of it. But also Jordan was not just a generational player who changed the game and changing right now too, as you see in the success for the documentaries, how many people watching. And I'm glad to be the young players who never had a chance to watch him on game had a chance now to see him and get to know him and his approach, his dedication for the game itself. It's totally different than people thought. And maybe Kobe Bryant was the closest to him, but I think his presence is more just in basketball. It's just over to all other sports too. And LeBron is not that category yet, and maybe never be. His path is only basketball, and obviously he's not only basketball, because he does so many things off the court too, and he had the voices opinion, because in a different world right now, which is he allowed to do that, and he has a statue already, which he had a word on opinion and everything. But I think it's not same category than Jordan. Jordan is a own he's himself in their own category, and every other players after him.
So we agree, Jordan the GOAT. Okay, but you like or you don't like LeBron, you have to respect him because he is a great player and a great man who, with a lot of achievements on the court and off the court, exactly how you said.
Okay. Absolutely. 100% agree with you. Absolutely.
In the end, unfortunately, you know, we are limited a little bit of the time because I have the feeling that we can sit all night and long and to talk. I would like you, because we have a lot of viewers which their mother language is Hungarian, to address them some words in your language, and then we will have the closing. Okay?
Yes, okay. Köszöntök mindenkit, minden kedves nézőt. Köszönöm szépen Marcelnek a meghívást, és remélem tetszett ez a beszélgetés, és hát tudnánk beszélgetni egész este erről az egészről. Remélem kedvet csináltam a kosárlabdához, és a fiataloknak pedig kis motivációt ahhoz, hogy kemény munka nélkül nem lehet semmit elérni, és erre ugye a mostani dokumentumfilm is, amit Jordanről szól, ez is egy nagyon jó példa, úgyhogy köszönöm, hogy itt lehettem.
Okay, you have to make a promise now.
A promise or what?
Come in the summer, you must make a promise after these all things with Corona endings. You must find some days to come in Romania to a camp to show yourself here, that the kids can see you on the floor.
Well, I try. It's obviously, you know, I've been there last summer too. You know, the European Championship for the youth European Championship was scheduled obviously this year too. So I'm willing to go to there again. But it's no obviously the FIBA canceled all youth tournament. But I'm really well, I cannot say 100% sure. It's up to my schedule, which is depending on the Milwaukee Bucks where I need to go. I try to be there, and if I had a chance, definitely go for a camp and talk to you guys. I don't know how much I can show you now because I'm not playing basketball at all. But if I have a chance, I'd be there.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a very nice conversation with you. We spent a very good quality time. Thank you, and we stay in touch. And the world is so small, so we have to stick together.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Marcel, to having me. And it's great to see you. Great to hear from you. You know, we have a little past. You know, we're not talking about it, but it was short.
We will talk about it. Anyway, it was a great period with you, working with you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Unfortunately, it didn't last too long, but doesn't matter. Life is good.
Okay. That's okay. But thanks again, and good to see you too. Good luck.
Good luck. Vă mulțumim pentru atenție.